the Queen of Halloween, a legend and icon, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Cassandra Peterson.
I love it. I miss it. I'm not kidding. It seems, I don't know, it's bizarre that I'm not jumping around shaking my ass. I'm just sitting here. I like it. I like it. This is a much easier show, I gotta tell you. Yeah, it's fun.
What was that first show like here? How did you get Elvira from, Channel 9 Movie Macabre to Knott's Scary Farm?
Yeah, I don't know. The first show I remember pretty well, and I do not think there's video of it anywhere. I haven't seen the video. It was because I did this song, Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun. And I don't think that was on the video, was it? Anybody see that up there? Nope, see? And that was the very first show, and I remember it was really dorky. And I didn't know what I was doing, and nobody knew what they were doing, I don't think. Well, you guys knew what you were doing. I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, it was, I just didn't know if Elvira was going to translate from the little screen to a big stage. And it did eventually work out. Yeah.
Did it work, folks?
We did the last show at midnight. I guess that was the latest. Yeah, sometimes 1 o'clock. And we finish up the show around 2. It'd be, I'd get out of makeup around 3, get home around 4:30 in the morning, go to bed, wake up 5, and drive back, which took 2 hours from Hollywood, and start again, I don't think I saw daylight for about, a couple months. Anyway, I don't think anybody did, no. It was like an all-nighter, but 4 shows, my God. Finally, I got it down to like 2 shows. That was awesome.
Yeah, 4 shows.
The improv on each show, progressively, the improv got better. By the 4th show, the improv was spectacular.
Yeah, well, by the very last show, which you didn't see, it got really fantastic. Yeah, but it took about 34 years to get there.
20 plus shows. So Tom, talk about the shows you directed. We can get Cassandra in here to talk about those shows.
Oh my gosh, we were reminiscing earlier tonight, and I honestly don't remember the first year. But I do remember we had a lot of scantily clothed dancers on stage backing up Elvira. At one of the shows, we put them in a rain curtain. I think for the very first time, they were dancing in the rain. There was, you were living La Vida Loca, and you were, whatever song we were doing. I think one of my most favorite ones that I love was I'm Just a Sweet Elvira.
I love that one, doing the Rocky Horror, doing the part of Tim Curry was like, oh, this is my dream. I have to tell you one funny story about the year we did La Vida Loca. I wore these chaps that have my butt cut out, okay? So nothing on my butt, and my cousin came and brought his daughters, my little cousin, and she went to her mom and said, Mommy, does Elvira know her butt is showing? She was so upset, she was crying. She still talks about that. She's in her 30s and she still is like, oh, so embarrassing.
The rehearsal for La Vida Loca, or the auditions. And we actually filmed in a room that was nothing but mirrors. And so to light in that awful room, and we had some really great cast of characters that came through.
Including my daughter.
Yes, and she had a little tantrum.
4 years old then.
Yeah.
I think my daughter did a little singing number, and then she threw a little fit, a little hissy
We
fit.
used it in the video. I don't know if it played tonight, but it's adorable.
I wish we had the video of that to show you guys, because she is so angry. She's singing La Vida Loca, and I tell her, okay, thank you, and she's going, you didn't let me finish. She goes and throws a giant fit. And we have that clip somewhere. Somebody's got to pull that up somewhere and put it out, because I still play that for her and embarrass her to death. It's awesome.
Any others, Michelle?
The Survivor one was probably the most elaborate one.
Survivor? Yeah. We did a Survivor parody. That was so funny. I just watched it the other day. Tom was the host of Survivor.
The
And we
phone call.
had-
The phone call.
And he
went-
was perfect.
The phone call went like this. Ring, ring. Hey, Tom, it's Cassandra. Hey, Cassandra. Yeah, we're going to have rehearsal. We're going to do the shoot. She goes, yeah, you're going to do Jeff Probst. No. And I did.
No, he was suddenly an actor. Everybody was an actor. We got Lynn Stewart, who was Missy Vaughn from
It's on the screen right
TV's
now.
Playhouse.
Oh, there
Oh,
it is. Yep.
there it is. Oh my God. Look, there's Lynn. She was super tough. Yeah, it was so embarrassing. This guy was naked. He had his, you know. we blurted out. Don't worry, everybody.
I remember the bass, Billy the Bass, yeah.
yeah.
Went
Billy
from
the
your
Bass.
cleavage, yes.
Yep, out of the cleavage. And I remember having to rig that thing up to make it look like it jumped out of the girls.
Right.
And
Out of their cleavage.
how are we going to do that? A little fishing line and hop it right out.
And we did all these videos like around the park. And there was a little lake over there.
All
the
of
in
the
the
Survivor
bushes
video
in the
was
park.
actually shot across the street at the Lagoon, at the picnic center.
Where people have their weddings.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Rob Perez, if you're listening, I wish you could. Are you there? Is there any way to find that video of Sadie during the? Okay, great. I wish you guys could see it because it's so hilarious. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, just getting that one shot of the vomit. Yeah.
Well, here's the behind the scenes of
There's
getting the
Tim.
vomit.
Where?
Never before shown their footage of
That's me holding the vomit cannon, and we're all dressed in
Why are we in a
plastic.
cult? What is the
Because that was the only thing we had to keep the splatter off of us.
and the camera's not covered at all.
No. We were more worried about ourselves.
It looks like the Handmaid's Tale.
And then it misfired the first time, and he almost had a heart
Yeah, it
attack,
didn't
the
work.
actor.
We just kept throwing vomit.
All right, this is from Mike Mayfield from Fullerton, who says, Mike, you here? All right, Mike, we hate you. All right. What? Hey, Mike.
Love you, Mike.
So great. What prompted you to get into the horror genre? How'd you get into the horror genre, like hosting a horror show?
Well, I guess you better read my autobiography. Awesome. Okay. I started just being madly in love with horror when I was like in second or third grade. I went to see a horror movie. It was Vincent Price and House on Haunted Hill, and I never got over horror. I was just obsessed with it as a little kid. I was painting. My sisters were playing with Barbie and Ken, and I was playing with Frankenstein and Dracula. It was really weird, and this is like in the 50s, okay? And I don't know, I became obsessed with horror, and ever since I was a kid, I loved horror and horror movies, and so it kind of ended up in the perfect career, right?
Absolutely. Any horror fans out there? You're good company. All right. Phoenix from Alhambra, not Alhambra from Phoenix, says, what is the funniest thing that ever happened while you were performing here?
The funniest thing?
Anything happening that was crazy or funny? I can't, other than the chaps.
I remember one thing that happened. It wasn't that funny, but I don't know if you were doing that show, and if you were, I am suing you. But anyway, we had these boots like these that laced up that we were dancing in, and I was running this way, like dancing, going that way, and the female dancers were coming this way. And my laces caught around the grommets of the dancer going that way, and she and I both just went boom, face first into the stage. And wasn't so funny, I cut my eyebrow open and had blood running down, but I got up and I kept singing. I kept singing, and I was going like, I just fell down and I have blood running on my head. And everybody thought I was playing. everybody goes, that was so funny. And I mean, I went off the stage, I was sobbing, crying, and we had to get the paramedics, and I had stitches, but I guess it was funny because everybody thought it was hilarious. Yeah, it was kind of funny at the time, but not right after.
That's the old adage. It's only funny until someone gets hurt, then it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Okay. Omari from Huntington Beach says, what was one vision you always had for the show but never got to do? Is there anything in that?
What?
Something that you wanted to do in the show that it just never happened?
Oh, well, never. We did a lot of things we wanted to
We did a
happen.
lot. I mean, the one thing, at least the years I directed, we talked about flying you, have your entrance.
That's true. I
Fly.
did want to fly in. I wanted to do
Fly
the
in.
Cher and the Beyonce thing,
Yeah.
you know, and it didn't really work out for us. So no flying, and I'm kind of happy that didn't happen. You know, you see what happened to some of those people, like Anne Margaret, which is too of a reference for this crowd. But yeah, we
You
never
may
got to
not
do
have
that.
flown, but we did fly a few guys across the stage dressed as you, though.
Yes.
We did fly some dancers,
That's true.
and some of them were
I
guys.
remember that.
across
Better
the
them than
stage.
me.
And how tall do you have to be to ride the ride? To ride the ride. That was
You have to be at least this
very
second only to the chicken ride.
The chicken ride? All right. Otto from Los Angeles says, would you let them use a hologram for a future show of you?
I would, damn it. You know? I love the whole idea of a hologram. Yes, Jim, start working on that now. I could just work forever till I'm 93, you know, 5 or whatever, and look awesome. So yes, I'm all about holograms.
How does it feel to have lifelong fans, and why do you think you have such dedicated fans?
You know, it is amazing out here at Knott's, in particular, honestly, I have seen fans grow up from little tiny kids in the audience to adults with kids and grandparents. I mean, and tonight, I must have had, I don't know, 100 people come through who said, I saw every one of your shows when I was a little kid. Now I'm bringing my kids. Now they're bringing their kids. And I've just seen, you know, it's amazing, just generation after generation of families come out to Knott's and that I have seen before my eyes, you know, grow up. In fact, my social media person, who is a wonderful social media guy, Christian Greenia, I met him out here when his mommy brought him backstage to meet me when he was a little guy, and now he's working for me. He's like, I don't know, 46. Yeah, they snuck in. That's right. And it was like,
I caught
this
him,
kid.
and I knew him from other places, and he snuck in, and I'm like, what are you doing back here? And he's like, well, you dared me, and I'm like, I did. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah, and now he works for me like 45 years later, still working, doing my social media, so it's crazy, you know, just families. And I have a couple of fans out here, Crystal and Patty, and their cousin Richie started out as my biggest fan, and he was just, I knew him forever from here, and he would bring all his relatives, and they would sit in the front row for every show. But through this weird thing, I had this question I asked them about. I asked the audience something, and the audience would yell, "Who?" And Crystal and Patty and Richie would start yelling "Who" all the time. So I started calling them the Owl Club, and so they became my little group of fans. And Richie sadly passed away really, really young. It was devastating. But I'm still very close to his family. They still come out here. I know them all really well, and I mean, it's just I feel really close to so many of the fans out here, and I saw so many of you guys tonight, and I'm sure you're probably out there somewhere in the audience. But I love it when you show up, and I don't always remember everybody's name because I can't really remember my own name half the time, but I certainly remember you. So.